Sit back and buckle up because I'm about to drag it out of you. You said, but it hurts. You don't understand. They don't appreciate our white culture. We only want them to help themselves while we run this. Whoo, now, first of all, if you want to talk about white culture, our culture is.
And this video has been brought to you by racism. Racism is accepted wherever true Americans are. Also by
Women are the biggest hindrance to moving racial equality forward because we have more influence over the raising of our children than anybody else, and white supremacy grows in our homes. And we are the ones teaching our children if only they would behave this way, speak this way, or dress this way, maybe they would have equality. And I will not argue this with anyone.
and
I don't know who this black guy is who's hosting it. This is supposed to be country music. No offense. I mean, y'all have hip-hop and basketball. But you're up here being like, the melanated people invented country music. We was making country music in Wakanda before Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard done stole the black man's country music.
Sit back and buckle up because I'm about to drag it out of you. You said, but it hurts. You don't understand. They don't appreciate our white culture. We only want them to help themselves while we run this. Whoo, now, first of all, if you want to talk about white culture, our culture is genocide, rape, murder, sexual assault, pedophilia, spreading disease, enslavement, brutality, horror. We are domestic terrorists in our own land. The KKK. What happened in Charleston? Those were domestic terrorists. January 6th, domestic terrorists. White culture is barbaric. So what part of our culture do you think that black people should appreciate? Would it be the enslavement? Would it be all of the lynchings? Would it be Jim Crow? Would it be Law and Order and the war on drugs, which was nothing but a war on black people? Would it be the fact that the CIA deliberately flooded the black communities with crack for the sole purposes of decimating the black community? COINTELPRO, look it up. Would it be the deconstruction of Reconstruction? Would it be all of the massacres that were committed against the black community as soon as they started to become successful and thrive, like Black Wall Street for one of the most iconic examples? Would it be the voter suppression? Would it be sharecropping, which was nothing more than slavery? Would it be the 13th Amendment that legalizes slavery that you think that they should appreciate? Would it be the oppression? Would it be the redlining? Would it be the Homestead Act where they gave away a ton of land to white people and gave the the newly freed enslaved not a mother thing? Although they were promised 40 acres and a mule, they never got. But white people got reparations for the loss of their slaves. Would it be the underfunding of the education system? Would it be mass incarceration? Would it be the school to prison pipeline? Would it be the police brutality and the black people who are murdered every single day by those who are supposed to, quote unquote, serve and protect, which, by the way, they took that off of the police vehicles. You will not see that anywhere because that is actually not their job. They are modern day slave patrol. Is that what the black community should appreciate? Would it be the complete denial of their experience? Or is it the lack of our accountability that they should appreciate? I think you need to appreciate education more.
all right, so we're going to just try to go through this as easy as possible. Might have to try to replace some words, but you're going to understand what it is that I'm stating, right? So it stated that in 1934, whites made Claude Neal, whom they unalived in Jackson County, Florida, eat a piece of a male individual, both parts. James McGovern relates the details of Neal's unaliving in Anatomy of Lynching. After they take the black man to the woods about 4 miles from Greenwood, they then cut off parts. He was made to ingest it. Then they cut off lower parts and made him eat them and say he liked it. Making Neil eat his own organs, as grotesque as it was only a byproduct of an even more disturbing reality of white hunger and power. the cutting off and forced eating of his own flesh was a reflection of white male oral fixation upon black male virility and black men as a sexual threat. Benga is described as his biographer as believing that, quote, white eyes, white men are cannibals, a fear ascribed mostly to superstitions. Benga and equally savage Apache chieftain Geronimo shared. Now let's go to the medical side. Mainstream newspapers and magazines often report disease in an ethnocentric manner that shrouds its true costs among African Americans. For example, despite the heavy emphasis on genetic ailments among blacks, fewer than 0.5% of black deaths, that's less than one death in 200, can be attributed to hereditary disorders such as sickle cell anemia. A closer look at the troubling numbers reveals that blacks are dying not of exotic, incurable, poorly understood illnesses, nor of genetic diseases that target only them, but rather from common ailments that are more often prevented and treated among whites than among blacks. Three times as many African Americans were diagnosed with diabetes in 1993 as in 1963. The rate is nearly twice that of white Americans and is sorely underestimated. The real black diabetes rate is probably double that of whites. As with most chronic diseases, African Americans suffer more complications, including limb loss, blindness, kidney disease, and terminal heart disease. Cancer, the nation's second greatest killer, is diagnosed later in blacks and carries off proportionately more African Americans than white. African Americans suffer the nation's highest rate of cancer and cancer deaths. So I'm just trying to figure out where is it that she was specifically lying about the history, the historical facts, things that are recorded that anybody can decide to look up. The problem with the truth is that a lot of people don't like to look at the past in order to correct the present and or the future. A lot of people speak on progression and wanting to be progressive, but realistically they want things to stay the same as they were in the past, just as long as it benefits them. A lot of individuals that we've been able to see over the recent years, such as the woman that you were able to hear from, have come out, honestly speaking, amongst all of their flock. And the main thing that I normally state when it comes to Europeans is that amongst a lot of them, you will have a rare few that will directly come out that will list things about themselves and their culture, even though it will, in a sense, reflect poorly and negatively on them. The one positive thing about that is that they're honest about where it is that their people came from. They're honest about what it is that their people have done. They're honest about how it is that certain laws and rules have transitioned from slavery all the way up until now. They've just been reworded differently. And they've done that on purpose because the main thing that they've always stated about black people is what? If you want to hide any information from somebody that is black, you put it directly into a book. So when it is that black people specifically speak about these topics, they explain these topics, they give you sources and materials, you'll still have black people out there and others that will state, why does it matter? This is just the past. This has nothing to do with today when everything has to do with the past. In order for us to have a present or a future, we have to have a past. And again, the problem with the past is that a lot of people have been brainwashed into thinking that, oh, um, the past has nothing to do with me. You weren't this back then, you weren't that, and all these other types of things. But again, all of those things from the past culminated into the society and the America that we have at this moment in time. Without the past, we would not have the America that we have at this moment in time. So it's funny how people say on one hand, be proud of the America that we have to, today, be proud of the American flag, be proud of who and what we are, but yet we want to denounce and deny and deflect from the past. It seems a little bit counterproductive, right? You're proud on one end, but you're not going to acknowledge the other end, as if everything started off positive, as if everything started off good, as if things have not transitioned or transferred to the present in a different light or a different manner, or it cloaked itself in a nice way. right? So again, if people have a problem specifically with the video, I need to know what is the specific problem. And I'm talking about specifically with the video because I can already hear some people trying to run up and talk about, oh, but what about, black people who, do this to other black people? Are we going to sit up there? If you actually cared about that, then you would actually go to those black communities where those things are taking place, and you would work with other people in that community in order to circumvent that problem, in order to cure that problem, versus coming here underneath a video that has nothing to do with that and trying to state that as a comment as if you actually care about black people, their plight, and what it is that they are specifically going through. So again, I'm going to ask, if you have a disagreement with the video, point out the disagreements, right? Because this is a person from that culture. She is a representative of those women. So again, if you got a problem with it, I need some type of identifiable proof to show that, hey, she is incorrect. Hey, she is lying about specifically what it is that she is talking about, and all the other things, right? But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment section below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.